Mm.
And there we are, Susan Michelle. This mic is all yours.
Hi, this is Susan Michelle. I am here in Western Massachusetts with my good friend and Course in Miracles soul sister, Myrna Scholar in Florida. You look so beautiful, Myrna. How are you doing today?
As always, I'm doing great. I always say great. Even if
Uh,
somebody's asking me, if I'm just getting up in the morning and I go get my paper or something, and how are you doing, Myrna? And I always say great. It just comes out automatically. So I like that. I like that I'm habitually able to respond that way.
I like that too. I have started saying that to people because I think that's a very positive affirmation. Our words create our experiences. So I think that's just a very good response to that question. And I am the author of Surrender to Joy From Suicide to Serenity. Then I teach the transformational truth of A Course in Miracles in my book and here on Pal Talk and YouTube. Myrna is the author of Private Lessons with Jesus, which is an amazing book as well. It correlates so succinctly and perfectly with the workbook. And I love Myrna's book, and I love Myrna. Um, I guess I will start out with the introduction of my book, which is always a good way to get started. What I write in my introduction is my passion is God. God is love and joy and beauty. He is all that is good in the world. Everything else is our own miscreation. When we are filled with joy, we are connected to God. When we are not joyful, we have lost our connection to all that is real. This is my message. It can be clarified perfectly with three simple words: surrender to joy. There is nothing to find. All we need to do is surrender. So, God's will for us is perfect happiness. And when I am connected to the joy within me, I'm more able to be a conduit for God's divine miracles. I think in this worldly classroom, I fluctuate between being aligned with my higher self and I guess learning the lessons my ego needs, my soul, my smaller self. How should I phrase that? Learning the lessons that I need to learn in this earthly classroom. I tend to vacillate. Um, Today's lesson is 127. There is no love but God's, which is an amazing lesson. What do you think of today's lesson, Myrna?
I
Was
like
it,
that because it speaks of love. And that's everything. Everything is love. Everything. All consciousness is love, but we don't perceive it that way. But once we get into the idea and the truth that that's all there is, then it gives us the way to truth. It gives us the way out of hell, really, because the ego keeps us ensconced that way in that small little place that is really nothing, and yet we think the ego is so vast. We confuse the truth with fiction or with illusion, which is the ego. So when you speak about love, recognizing that true love is really not of anything other than God, true love. And when we can draw that from God and then extend it to others, we know it. We know the difference. It's a different kind of love. It's a lasting love. It's a true love. The love of the ego comes and goes. And I'm sure we've all experienced that through our life, learning the difference. And maybe that's how we learn, that's how we learn through pain, because being in the ego's domain all the time does bring pain. And you can never get used to pain, of course. And once you recognize that we don't want to live in that way, we don't want to live in that realm anymore. We want to experience peace. And isn't love, true love is peace. And that's what I've come to learn. By experiencing God's love, I also experience peace, because then it becomes something that I can rely on. I don't have to feel fearful. It eradicates fear. So I do like to speak about that. By the way, I want to thank Regis. He always puts our books up on the, right on the screen. And I'm always reminded that my book is there. If I had to do it myself, I don't think I'd know how to do it. He does. He puts things up that are nice. Thank you. So I turn it back to you, Susan.
Yeah, thank you very much, Regis. That's really nice. I
You
like
always-
how my book is right next to Myrna's book. They look good together. The night and
We
the
do.
darkness with the moon and the white cover. It's very nice together. So yeah, I mean, what is important in today's lesson is that when we love as an ego, that type of love is called special love or special relationships. We single out certain people in the sonship, and we decide that they are special. That is not God's love. God's love is all inclusive. Uh, God's love is not special. So when we can access that place within ourself that is connected to the good God, there is no difference. So it's I can't hate the mailman and love my husband. I can't be angry at someone at work, which I am, but I can't be angry at someone at work and love you, Myrna. It's Course in Miracles tells us we can't shut ourselves off to part of the sonship and love the other part of the sonship totally, because the mind is all encompassing and God's love extends out to everyone equally. So that's the difference between special love and holy love. That's the difference between a special relationship and a holy relationship, because God loves everyone totally and equally. So when I am connected to God's love, I am also loving myself fully. I'm fully connected to my own peace, love, joy, and happiness. And that's what A Course in Miracles is really teaching us. The first paragraph of lesson 127 states, perhaps you think that different kinds of love are possible. Perhaps you think there is a kind of love for this, a kind for that, a way of loving one, another way of loving still another. Love is one. It has no separate parts and no degrees, no kinds nor levels, no divergencies and no distinctions. It is like itself, unchanged throughout. It never alters with a person or a circumstance. It is the heart of God and also of his Son. So when life throws us curveballs, when people treat us in a certain way, I guess what lesson 127 is teaching us, that the response to any situation any situation is just unconditional love. That's what A Course in Miracles is teaching us. Everything is either love or a call for love. Everything is either love or fear. So whether someone it's easy to return the love to someone that is showing love to us. The challenge is returning fear-based emotion with love. So because God's love is all encompassing, it's just loving everyone totally and equally. And I guess I know it's challenging. It's a mental discipline to stay plugged into the God socket and extend God's love in all situations. Don't you think, Myrna?
It can be done. It seems difficult, but it can be done. That's what I like so much about the Course in Miracles, because it's more of a way of training the mind than anything. It teaches us to do that, because if we don't, it's so easy to forget. It's so easy to forget about how to extend love, to feel it, and to, even though we're made of love, that's what we're so much a part of, completely part of love. Yet it's so easy to forget that we are. It's almost as if we're asleep. I understand what the Course in Miracles says when it says that we are asleep, that we need to wake up, and that if we're not feeling anything but the truth, it's all a dream, it's all an illusion. And we live the illusion. That's really what we tend to do most of our life. When we begin to realize that it's not the illusion that is going to bring us happiness or peace, it's only the love of God. Um, and that we can do it all the time. It's just a matter of knowing that to do it, just to feel it, to even if we're not feeling it, to try to extend the words of love, of peace, even when we're feeling angry. So it's a matter of learning, it becomes a habit, really, to show that we are in that place all the time. And when we feel that we are there, then we are there. If we tell ourselves that we're there, for instance, if I'm having a feeling of fear or a thought of fear, I learned through mind training to get away from that thought, to either recite an affirmation. I am not a body, I am free, for I'm still as God created me. I mean, that's the one that my mind jumps to all the time when I'm feeling the fact that I've just attacked myself. Of course, I attack myself. I'm attacking myself when I'm attacking somebody else because of the feeling that I get. It's not a good feeling. The ego makes us think that it's a good feeling, that we're feeling vindictive and we're letting it out. But if anything, we're holding it in. I've become aware of that all the time. If I have a thought that penetrates my mind or jumps in when I don't want it to or when I didn't expect it, rather than nurturing that thought, letting it unfold, right away I'm aware that it's a thought that I don't want. Whatever it is, I don't care what it's going to remind me of. That thought just gave me a feeling of unrest. And in fact, I say that to Jesus. I say, I just had an attack thought, didn't I? No, I always say to Jesus, I just attacked myself, didn't I? Didn't I? I get that. And of course I get agreement because I know it's true. And then I'll be aware of it. So if you're not feeling love and you're feeling anything other than love, it's not love. It's just not. And that's what God's love is all about. God's love is just unwavering. It's there. It's penetrable. It's only we can rely on it no matter what we've done, no matter. That's where guilt comes from. I used to feel so guilty of all the things that I thought I did, all the things that I hated myself for. And even if they were mistakes, and even if they were events where I wasn't being the best I could be, where I might have been unkind, I've been we're forgiven for it. And that is what we can rely on. So if we can do that with other people, never feel holding anything against them for any long period of time, even a short period of time. If we just keep it recognizing that I don't want that to feel that way. I want to feel love. I want to be able to believe and recognize that that's who I am. And again, as I said, it takes a lot of determination. And determination is will. Right, Susan?
That's right. That's right. Going back a couple of lessons, lesson 124 states, "Let me remember I am one with God." I still think all the lessons, when you can really digest them wholeheartedly, will bring you to the crux of what A Course in Miracles is teaching us. And it's not something that we can we can intellectualize it, but an intellectual understanding is just not going to cut it. In order to really experience the joy that it offers, we need to embody these principles. And just to remember that God is not something outside of me. God is something that I'm a part of, and my happiness lies when I can connect to him wholeheartedly. And it's something that we need to, like, still our mind to realize. We can't connect with the energy of God when we're rushing around. It just doesn't, we can't hear him. We need to still our minds and focus on the joy to be able to listen to what he is telling us, because I've noticed the difference in my own mind, when I'm listening to my ego and there's stress, and when I'm peaceful and I'm listening to the voice of God or the Holy Spirit, it's a completely different energetic vibration. God is always with me, but sometimes throughout the day, I have a tendency to block that off. So it's a choice. It's a choice that I can make at each and every moment. I came home from a job the other night, and my husband had Bruce Almighty with Jim Carrey and Jennifer Aniston and Morgan Freeman on the television. And I think that is such an impactful movie. It's I find so many Course in Miracles analogies. Morgan Freeman is playing God. And one of his lines said, when he said to Jim Carrey, he said, "If you want to see a miracle, be the miracle." So it's not about looking outside of ourselves for something that's going to make us happy. It's to shift something internally. But there were so many great lessons in that movie. Jim Carrey was going through a really hard situation in his life. He didn't get promoted to the newscaster position that he wanted, and so then he was like very, very upset. And then he met God, Morgan Freeman, and he took on all the character traits of God so he could make whatever he wanted happen in the world, but he couldn't change someone's free will. He wanted the love of Jennifer Aniston. Grace, the character, was towards the end of the movie, or towards the middle of the movie, I guess I should say, and he couldn't make her love him. but it was just a very good movie in terms of all the points that it was making. Have you ever seen that movie, Myrna, Bruce
I
Almighty?
think I have, yes, and I know that I've heard Morgan Freeman, the voice of God, and what better voice could that be than Morgan Freeman for the voice of God? He has such a wonderful narrative voice to listen to. You listen to him; he does that a lot, various different narrations. Um, He's done documentaries. I love listening to Morgan Freeman. Talk about another God. I listened to or watched a movie years ago that I loved. It was with George Burns, the old movie. It was called Oh
Oh
God.
yeah.
George Burns was God. God, little old man. She was God, and he was so rational, he was able to answer every question the way God would answer, not in a religious way of expressing it, but just common sense. It's all common sense when you think about it. And so I kind of thought he played a wonderful God. And we're all God. We can be if we just reflect that understanding and extend it outward. And if we just, when I say reflect it, if we're feeling it, it does reflect within. We don't even have to say anything. We have that calmness, that love that it really does exude, outward. I meet people like that at times, and I just feel that. I feel that quiet in it within from them, that sense of peace within them. They have to they can say nothing, but it's something that you just understand is there, and it's nice to connect to that type of energy that's peaceful, that's loving, and I think of so much that's going on in the world today. There's so much going, and you know how I interpret, my mind interprets it that there's really nothing to fear because this is the good guys against the bad guys, and the good guys are going to win. They just have to. And what are the good guys against the bad? Good, evil. If there's evil, it can't survive. If there's good and there's only good intention, and then that has to survive. It just does. And so there's really nothing to fear. And that when we can accept that, then there's really nothing to worry about either because it will happen. There's nothing to worry about, and I absolutely embody that belief that it's all going to be it is good. It is all good already, but if we want to kind of see it, literally see it, I think we'll come to see that as well because we're going to be connecting. When you're connecting with love, and that's what your whole intention is to connect with it, then that's what you're going to see. You're going to see peace, whether it exists or not, because it's an illusion anyway. True peace is there to see, to experience. So no matter what happens, peace will always prevail because that's God and love. And so, and yeah, sometimes you, like you say, you watch a movie and even though it's not real, it can make you laugh, it can make you cry, it can make you become introspective. I like a movie that kind of makes me feel a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yep, the only thing that's real is the love. So peace is ultimately going to always prevail.
Mm,
And I mean that's non-duality. I mean, the only thing that's real is the love. If it's negative, it's an illusion. So
yeah,
it's important to focus on that and focus on, I mean, when we focus on the beauty in the people that we come across, we can access that state within ourself. Um, I I was at like a Cinco de Mayo band playing at a local pub last night, and it was like a veterans party, and yeah, and it's fun just to focus on other people laughing and having fun and dancing, and I think that's all very positive. I felt really, really great when I came home. Very, very, very happy, very joyful. Um, Yeah, on the run this morning too. It's kind of nice because there's a lot of wildlife animals recently at the reservoir. I think I told you that story last week about I was passing by a family of goose, and one of the geese started chasing after me, trying to protect her family. Since then, I've passed by a lot of baby geese on my run, and I haven't had any negative attention from the parents. And it's very beautiful to watch them, because they're just very beautiful little creatures. And I think that when we can focus on the beauty in nature, when we can focus on the beauty in our surroundings, it's just so much easier to tap into the beauty within ourselves. So,
I saw something recently, Susan, that I loved. I saw some, it was on Facebook, maybe it was on Facebook, and it was, and you talk about animals, you talk about animals like, and little children, really, innocence, the
yeah.
innocence of both. And there's a little girl that I could have eaten her up. She was about no more than 4 years old. If she was that old, she was a little girl. And she's talking to her mother about meat. And she's saying that it's not nice to kill animals. And won't eat meat. I won't eat meat. And her mother says, you won't? She says, no. And what she was saying was just so cute and so innocent that, and she really stole my heart. She said, it's not nice to cook animals. They don't like to be cooked. They don't like to be cooked, And she's like, really, in her innocence at 4 years old, that she knew enough to even have that conversation. And she's just not going to have meat. And her mother was wonderful. Her mother said, you don't have to eat meat if you don't want to. And then her mother said to her, what about fish? So she goes like this. She thinks for a minute. She says, is fish animal? And her mother said, yes. So she said, I don't eat fish. No fish.
Mm.
That's it. No animals. It's not nice to cook animals. That was her, emphatic truth. And I just, you wonder how much of us um, is really eradicated, the truth of who we are from early childhood. When we think about that, I remember because I can remember back very, very far back. I can remember back to when my father died, and I was only 3 years old. And I remember the house filling with people and how I was feeling, really, feeling very fearful. I remember the fear that I was feeling because I woke up in the middle of the night and I saw two people lying in bed together, and I thought it was my mother and father. After everybody that night when people were coming to the house to offer their condolences and everybody was tearful, I knew that he wasn't there and that he probably wasn't coming back. But when I saw two people in bed, I was so happy and I started to jump up and down. I thought my father had come back. And then my mother woke up, and then it was my sister who went to sleep with my mother that night. But I remember feeling that feeling I will never forget, because I knew then at that age, at 3 years old, that my father died. I knew that he died. So children really understand and recognize so much more than we know, than we realize. So yeah, and Jesus talks about little children, just follow them because they've learned and they have not forgotten where they came from. It's only what becomes phased out is that truth as we get older, because we're living in a society of egos. So we become that. So yeah.
Yeah, the Course in Miracles tells us over and over again. I mean, the only way to see God clearly is when we can look, at our brother through the innocence of a child.
Yeah.
So our innocence is the opposite of our guilt, the fear. keeps us blocked from God. But when we can just really embody the innocence, that's when we can see the reality of life. Um, so it's not about finding anything. It's just about letting go of blocks and remembering who we are.
Yeah,
Um,
yes. It's remembering who we are. But isn't that what draws us into something, a teaching like the Course in Miracles? Starting to remember who we are? Isn't that why we reach for, we want to get away from the ego because we do remember? The Course in Miracles tells us that everybody gets the call, but few people answer the call. So
everybody is called, but few are chosen, meaning few people actually
respond.
answer God's call, respond to God's call. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's really it's about, releasing, and I say this a lot, releasing our will with a small w to God's will with a capital W, and just trusting that he is going to uh help us find the direction that we want to go in. He's going to help us navigate our way. He's going to guide us. So it's about listening to the Holy Spirit guide us throughout the world. Um, the next paragraph here in lesson 127, Jesus writes, love's meaning is obscure to anyone who thinks that love can change. He does not see that changing love must be impossible, and thus he thinks that he can love at times and hate at other times. He also thinks that love can be bestowed on one and yet remain itself, although it is withheld from others. To believe these things of love is not to understand it. If it could make such distinctions, it would have to judge between the righteous and the sinner and perceive the Son of God in separate parts. So again, A Course in Miracles, lesson 127 is teaching us, when we love one person, we love all people. We can't single out parts of the sonship and love some people more so than others. I mean, it is easier to love certain parts of the sonship. I mean, I think most people will say that, but when we're really connected to God, God does not separate. God does not distinguish, God just loves everyone totally and equally. And then the next sentence says, love cannot judge. So when we're judging someone, we're not loving them. When we're judging them, I mean, even when we're judging, I guess, someone as being really good, comparing them to someone else who's not so good, but the ego judges, the Holy Spirit accepts. The Holy Spirit accepts, and the Holy Spirit loves. And there's different disciplines we can do throughout the day, to make sure we're connected to our true self. As you said, if you see yourself comment from a fear-based perspective in your mind, you just kind of let it go. I know different affirmations work for me. Acceptance is, sometimes I say this affirmation to myself: what if everything is just perfect right here, right now? Accepting the perfection of what's happening in my life exactly as it is. It's a very calming state of mind to step into. So love cannot judge. As it is one itself, it looks on all as one. Its meaning lies in oneness. So, um, again, when I start the day off with a Course in Miracles lesson, when I start the day off with a meditation, I think this is very helpful for me to stay plugged into my God socket and to just focus on the love, focus on my connection to the Holy Spirit. And it's about letting go. It's about letting go. It's about trusting. Um, so we can also go to your book, Private Lessons with Jesus, and see what you wrote in lesson 127, which I do a lot at the time because I think that your words on the different lessons bring greater meaning to them.
What, you pointed before to lesson 124, which is also very good. Let me remember I am one with God. Do you want to go there? That is because we're talking about
Yeah.
remembering who
I
we
would
are.
love to. I would
Yeah.
love to.
So, yeah,
You want to go to 124 in your book?
sure. Because we're trying to remember, right? Wanting to remember God's love. So, the title here pulled me in when it says, let me remember that I am one with God. And I think I said before, I think it's a memory that causes us to come into the teaching of A Course in Miracles or any like course. Even in the Course in the Course in Miracles book, it mentions something that no course can teach you anything of value unless it teaches you love. It has to be love, and so lesson 124, your remembrance of God teaches that you were never abandoned nor forgotten. God's love created you in perfect wholeness, and you are known to him just as you were created. He shares his power with you that it may be extended by you to all your brothers and sisters. So, want me to go on? You want to
Yeah,
continue?
yeah, I would. I would. I love this.
Let the light shine within, let the light within shine brightly, enabling others to remember him as well. Remember him, remember God as well. Rest assured, there is no need to fear, for he did not let you stray further away when you became tired of being a slave to false idols and yearned to find your way again. Your true home is the one that God has kept undefiled and warm, welcoming your return, which in truth you never really left, but only distanced yourself from. This led you to despair, but God nevertheless left you homeless. For in truth, you are always loved and eternally cared for. And how could those words, those feelings not bring peace to your heart? I mean, it just, to me, the light within is there. It's there for us. So it says, shine it brightly. So if it wasn't there, it wouldn't indicate that we need to share it. Okay, it's there. And what we don't have, we can't share. And the light, because it really exists in all of us, the light within is so bright. When we begin to discover the truth of it, then we extend that. And I like that. I like that thought because it's light over darkness. Really, light always obscures the darkness. You're in darkness, you turn on the light, the darkness disappears. So there's a lot of truth in this particular in this lesson 124. And it really, all it is for me was just jumping off the title of it. In other words, I came to be able to reach through my feelings and thoughts just by what the title was telling me. And when we think about it, let me remember I am one with God. Okay, that I think if we just remembered every title of the entire Course in Miracles, we never have to really remember anything else, because the titles are so divulging in itself or in themselves. And, when I think about Jesus is saying, let me remember. And so we've forgotten. If we have to remember it, then we've forgotten. And of course, we've forgotten the love of God. We don't choose to remember it. So we just wallow in the ego's thought system before that truth becomes available to us. And once it does, then who would ever want to go back to the, flying with the wings of a sparrow when we can fly with the wings of an eagle, right, Susan?
That's right. That's right. I mean, to remember that we are one with God is such an empowering statement. And again, it's about, you know, I guess we are all like the waves, but our strength is in connecting to the ocean, because all the power of God resides within us when we can release our ego, release our fear. Yeah, I love that. Who would want to fly with the wings of a sparrow when the strength of an eagle is available to them? I remember, even I think it was yesterday, I was running on the reservoir, and one of the men that was walking, I see him every day. He's like, "Did you see the big bald eagle? Did you see the big bald eagle?" And it's rare to see a bald eagle, but when you do see them, I mean, they're so mighty, they're so strong, and that strength is available to us at each and every moment when we can release our fear. As I'm saying it, I'm remembering what it's like to just release the fear and trust in the good God, and remember that He has our back always. Um, I mean, yesterday, I'm trying to think of little examples during my day. Um, I had this job when I told you about the music and the dancing and the party. It was a job that I did. And it was raining. It was so yesterday was Cinco de Mayo, and there was this veterans party at a local pub, and it was just raining, and I had like all these boxes to carry into the restaurant, and three big boxes, and then I parked my car in the midst of a puddle. So I opened the door, and I'm like, oh my gosh, and so then I moved the car to get out of the puddle, and then I realized I couldn't carry the boxes in all at once. I didn't have an umbrella, so I put the coat over my head. I carry like part of my supplies in, with the rain, and through the rain, I should say. And I was just thinking to myself, oh my goodness, why did I take this job? I can't carry all my stuff. And I was just feeling stressed. I was like in my ego. And then once I got there, everybody was so kind and loving and helpful and supportive. And one of the ladies at the restaurant offered to come out to my car to help me get the last package. They helped me set up. They helped me. I mean, they were just so kind and loving, and I just went from a negative mind space to a very positive, loving mind space, and I just started focusing on the beauty in my surrounding, focusing on the beauty in everyone that I was meeting, and I think my energy elevated itself. So it's like we can make that shift at any time. We can make that shift at any time. And it's interesting, because when I'm in the negative, when I'm in the ego, it's really hard for me to tap into the love that is real. But then when I'm really connecting to the love, and I'm connecting to my wholeness, and I'm connecting to my God self, and I'm plugged into my God socket, well, it's just a very beautiful state of mind to reside in. um and I was definitely feeling it yesterday by the end of the day. So and again, it's God is always there. God is unconditional love. God is always with me. God is always present. but it's just me that sometimes forgets, you know. So I think it's a discipline to remember how loved we are and how much help is available to us at each and every moment. I also think, sometimes there are signs in the universe when I'm looking for answers, sometimes there's signs. Um, but I'm very grateful that I am one with God. I'm very grateful that his love for me is everlasting and undying. Um, and when I can really see the beauty and feel his presence, it's a very beautiful state of mind to reside in. And then Karen wrote in the chat room, thank you, Karen. I appreciate this. Before she wrote a few minutes ago, she wrote, let me remember is repeated 19 times in the course. Interesting. Let me remember. So it's about remembering who we are. And then she quoted from the text, when you want only love, you will see nothing else. So it's very important to focus our mind on what we want to see. It's just so important to do that. Yeah, Karen, I'd love to. Did Karen have her hand raised? I thought, oh yeah.
Go
I'd love
ahead,
to hear
Karen.
you.
Hi, Karen.
Hi,
Hi.
hi.
You guys sound so great today. Thank you so much. I just want to say this is so helpful. And in our earlier session, we were talking just about this, how like Regis was talking about, his wife and how, he wanted to be truly helpful, but he, what we think is truly helpful is not always truly helpful to the other person, right? And Sharonda was sharing and I was sharing. And I noticed, and it helped me so much because it helped me to remember, even when someone is annoying me so much, and they're trying to be helpful, but they're really annoying me, I can still focus on the good and focus that they really want to be truly helpful and they're trying. So it helped me so much because I think it's easy for the ego to focus on the negative, just like with you going in with all those boxes and the rain and, all this stuff, and you're like stressed out and all that stuff, but everyone came to help you. Immediately they saw that you were in need and they helped you. So why can't we be like that for ourselves? And all the time. I mean, it's possible. So this is so helpful. That was so helpful. And it's just helping me to see that I have this choice in every moment. And thank you. That's all.
I love that. It's about choice, and we do have that choice. And yeah, let me choose again, right? The Course in Miracles gives us that option. Let me choose again. That's all we really have to do is just choose again. When we're losing it, when we're doing something, we're feeling something, just drop it and just choose again. It's as simple as that. We tend to put so much complication into all day sometimes, when it's really as simple as just let me choose again. So when you said that, Karen, it's a choice, that's what came to mind. It says that in the Course in Miracles, there is a choice, and we have choices. It's nothing that we have to believe that we don't have a way out of the grief that we really sometimes put ourselves into. There is a way out. We just have to choose again. So I like that. Choose only love. Let me remember to choose love. That's really what it is. I guess when you're feeling peace and you've exercised the choice to choose, and you choose love, and then you're feeling peace because you've opted to choose for love. So there's peace in love. Everybody wants peace. We really do. I think to feel peace is to feel I feel that I'm giving myself a gift when I'm feeling peace, because my internal organs, okay, don't have to put up with all the crap that I'm feeling. If I'm not having a good day, my internal organs are feeling that. It doesn't have to feel that way. When I'm feeling love and I feel that love just flow through me, I feel that I'm being so good to myself. because I don't have to work as hard, to be who I want to be free. It's right there within. And so I'm giving that blessing to myself. And to me, that reflects health, true health. The body is experiencing healthy moments when it can experience love that we're allowing ourselves to feel and that we're remembering that we have to feel. So, I think about that sometimes. It's a gift I've just given to my heart, my lungs, my intestines, my stomach. Right.
Yeah. Health is of God. Yeah. When we're feeling healthy, we're connected to the true source of love, and health is our inheritance. That's absolutely correct. Um, yeah. Yeah. And then here in your book, going to today's lesson, I also love today's lesson, 127. You write, God's love is bestowed upon all. The lesson 127, as we said before, there is no love but God. So it's much shorter in Private Lessons with Jesus than it is in the text of or the workbook for A Course in Miracles. You wrote, God's love is bestowed upon all living things. He loves his children, especially because they are extensions of his love, with a capital H and a capital L. So we are extensions of God's love. We are extensions of our Creator. Although they have lost knowledge of this, his love never wavers. God can only be realized when it dawns upon the world that there is nothing here of greater value. This is so good, Myrna. Your channeling is just so amazingly amazingly fabulous. Because, I mean, again, so many times we're looking for things of the world to please us, and we have to realize, in order to feel our true peace, is that nothing of this world can satisfy us. No matter what happens in the world, the only thing that's really going to satisfy us and sustain us is connecting with our Creator. That which the world defines as love is not really love, because it is based on concepts separate and apart from what love really is. Do you remember writing that, Myrna? Because that is so profound and that is so wise. Like, we think that certain things of the world are going to satisfy us, but we have to realize that this is not our home. Our home is in the kingdom of heaven. And it's only by connecting to source energy that we can feel the peace, love, joy of who we really are. In reality, we are not individual fragments of the ego, which is the antithesis of love, but instead one consciousness bound with each other. And love for our brothers and sisters cannot be known in a world of judgment and separation. It's like when you can see another person as part of yourself, and you can feel the oneness, that's when you can really feel the love of our true self, and of course in Miracles always also says that when we extend God's love to our brother, God is so grateful. It just feels so good. Always be thankful that it was God's love that healed you when you lost your way, helplessly caught in the depths of despair, and he answered your pleas. Hold on to the memory, for there is nothing that can replace that which is irreplaceable. So I love your lessons, Myrna. I mean, they're so beautiful. And just to remember that the world cannot make us happy. It's connecting to source energy and extending God's love that is going to bring personal empowerment into our lives. It's not getting, it's extending that is going to help us remember who we truly are.
Thank you, Susan. You know, when I asked me, did I remember writing it? I never remembered anything that I had written after I wrote the lesson. I remembered nothing. And it was only when I would read it back the next morning that I used to get so much pleasure from it, because I would say, did that really come from me? Did it really come? You know, where did this come? It had to come from from a higher source, because what I was reading was giving me, was making me look at it, recognizing that we're all inherently a part of exactly what is written. We know it. We know it. I must have known it in order to write it. I had to have known it. And these are the truths that really started to come, that I became aware of as I was doing this, you know, this journey that I took with Jesus the entire year. And that's what it was. It was a journey with him alone. Tell me privately. I want to know what what I don't know. Obviously, I knew it all because I was able to express it through, he expresses himself all the time through us. Always, it's the higher power that we look for is there. It's already there. We just, and when we discover that it's there, we can never go back, because we already know the truth. Who wants to go back to what was when we know what truly is? So I'm glad you read that lesson, because I had really forgotten it. And I love that it comes alive again in me, in you, and whatever. So that was very nice. You talk about channeling, there's another book that I'm written, and it's coming out soon, but this is just a love story. And this came to me just the way this new book came to me, the same way that this did. It was just, so when you write about love, it's easy to write about, because the words come, they just pour forth, and so I'm really proud of this next one that's coming out anyway.
Yeah, that's exciting. It's a love story. It's in the process of being published right now, right, Myrna?
Yes, it's going to be coming out very soon. Yes, we went through its final round of changes, and it's a love story, and people. I say it's strictly fiction. Strictly fiction. It's a love story. Strictly fiction. I want you to know that. Anyway, but it was
That's
fun
very
writing fiction.
exciting.
Yeah. Anyway, and I love your book. I mean, your book. I read your book. I even, where is it? Your book. Hold your book up again and read what I have.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
right here. Surrender
Yeah.
to Joy.
And why don't you read like one or two of the endorsements? You got great endorsements for this book.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
your endorsement was beautiful. Oh, Regis just put it up. He
Yeah.
put up the front cover of my book and the front cover of your book. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's actually 4 o'clock. So our time has come to an end. And Karen put in the chat room, Myrna, you are such an inspiration. And I agree with her wholeheartedly. Myrna, you are such an inspiration. You are such a beautiful, wise, amazing Course in Miracles student and teacher. And I just love listening to you. So
Yeah.
um
But we're all inspiring. It's because I'm an inspiration, because I'm being inspired. There you go. It's there. It's right. All you wonderful souls have inspired me to be inspiring. So thank you. I thank you. I love you too.
Yeah, I love you, and thank you, Karen and Regis and everyone here in the chat room. And as A Course in Miracles says, nothing real can be threatened, nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. The only thing that's real is the love. Thank you, Myrna, for being here with me today. And I will return the microphone to Lynn.
Thank you, Susan. I always
Thank you.
love spending this hour with you.
Thanks, you guys, both of you. It's wonderful. Myrna and Susan Michelle. What a wonderful gift it is.